Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Ask an Action Coach. I am Joseph Muenich. I work in business development at ActionCOACH of Wisconsin. And as always, I'm here with Coach Jackie Zach. Jackie is a certified executive and business coach with ActionCOACH of Wisconsin. And this week, I have volunteered to sit in the hot seat because I had a few experiences last week that tie in really closely with systems and overcoming problems to a system when changes occur. And Jackie asked if she could talk to me a little bit about that, and I would be more than happy to share my experience. So good morning, Jackie.
Good morning. Well, thank you so much, Joseph, for being on the hot seat today. Also, what I'd like all of you business owners out there to do is to pay attention to Joseph's story and see if you recognize yourself in any of the areas that he talks about, because this segment may help you when times get tough and systems break and change happens. So pay attention and see if you recognize yourself here, and we'll have a couple of solutions for you at the end. So Joseph, why don't you go ahead and tell us what happened?
Well, all right. I was having kind of a challenging week last week. I was doing the things in my regular system that worked. I was paying attention to my list of things that normally worked really well and a list that I made when things were going great. One of my coaches helped me look at that and focus in on all of those things because he recognized that I was having some challenges with getting things across the goal line, if you will. I felt like I was in the red zone, I even told him, and said I was just waiting for that pass to be sent my way so that I could score. But it just wasn't happening for me. And then I worked with another one of my coaches toward the end of the week, and he said, well, isn't that interesting? And he asked, what else happened this week? And I said, well, to be honest, you guys asked us to change up our morning meetings and our afternoon meetings, and it kind of threw a little bit of a wrench in my schedule, and I'm not sure that I really like it. I feel like I miss the old meetings. And he said, you know, life is a mirror, and you're not embracing the change could be the reason you feel like you're pushing water uphill all this week and not getting the results you want. And then I laughed. I mean, I laughed so hard at it that it reminded me of when I'm on the stage, because I also am an actor. And when the audience laughs at something you do that's not really necessarily funny, it's because laughter is recognition. And he laughed, and we both recognized that he had hit the nail right on the head. So
For sure.
The other thing that we talked about is this book we're both really into right now called The Responsibility Process, and how I could take responsibility and embrace that change. And it's through something called the catch sooner game, which means you have to catch what you're doing, you have to change, you have to forgive yourself and vow not to do it again. And the forgive part is what we really zeroed in on, because it seems like it should be super easy to forgive yourself, but it's not. How
did you go ahead and forgive yourself? How did you forgive yourself?
Well, it was through that laughter, and it was through understanding that my coach and my supervisor and my boss were all wanting me to succeed, and nobody was going to be really coming down on me except for myself. And so I forgave myself, and I vowed to have a better week next week.
Excellent. So part of this is, right, you were walking along, and you had a routine, you had a system in place, you were doing the things, and you were consistent, you were getting good results. So this could be something that one of the business owners out there experiences. Then a change took place that you have no control over the change, but what do you have control over, right? When we think about it.
I have control over how I act, how I react, and what I do.
Yep, and also what you think too, right?
Yep.
So actually, you absolutely do. You have control over that. So all of you business owners out there, remember that when things happen that are out of your control, you still have control over some things. You have control over how you think, how you act, how you react, and exactly what you do. So those are the things you have control over, and don't forget that, because it's crucial. So part of this was you were running consistently, you were doing things, you had a routine that was working, and a change happened, and then it kind of threw you out of whack. So then, once you recognized what was happening and what the change that happened, how it affected you, what did you do to change your mindset, your brain, so that you could set yourself up for a great week this week?
Well, right at that moment, at the end of the week last week, I vowed to have a better week, and I vowed to embrace the change so that I felt more like I could be going with the flow. And already this morning, I changed part of the way that I participate in that first opening meeting that happened. And I actually opened up my laptop and I joined the meeting from a different part of my home. And just that little bit of change felt like an act of embracing the change.
Excellent. All right. So you kind of prepared your brain, right? So you spent some time preparing your brain to have a better week. So I know that you said that you just vowed to have a better week. You also said earlier that you forgave yourself for whatever you were thinking or feeling or acting or whatever was happening. And then I know you told me earlier that you also decided and took some action there to let it go for the weekend. Yep. And have a great weekend. Yep. Right? So you spent some time preparing your brain, which was number one. Number two, some of the tactics you did. So part of what you did, also you said, was move to a different place in your apartment or your home. Yep. To start the week new, right? So what other things did you do then that are helping to make you have a successful week this week?
I'm also adjusting my schedule a little bit, because this is a change that I don't have any control over, but there are other parts of my schedule that I do have control over. So I'm sort of taking back a little bit of time in my schedule for some other things. This is a change that affects the other part of my day. So I'm going to take control over the parts of my day that I do have control over. So I've already set myself up for a great lunchtime today, and I plan to continue to do that sort of new part in my routine every day moving forward in my daily calendar.
Excellent. So let's go back to preparing your brain. You also mentioned that, when the change first happened, and we both were kind of justifying what happened. We might be placing blame on what happened, but really, in the end, you actually took responsibility for what you were thinking, what you were feeling. You took responsibility for it and made some changes along the way. So what do you think were the catalysts, or were the secrets behind that successful transition? Because as business owners, a lot of us, this happens to us all the time. We have a system in place, something happens to mess us up, and we have a hard time getting back into what made us successful in the first place. So what do you attribute that success to?
I work with 3 coaches on a weekly basis. One of them is you, and you and I learn so much about myself just when we do these Ask an Action Coach segments and prepare for them. The other one I work with every week, and he looks at my weekly action plan. And then the third one is someone that helps me from a marketing perspective. And really, it was working with all of these different coaches and getting their outside eyes, because I seriously had some blinders on as to what was happening to me last week. But each one of you helped pull those blinders back further and further until I sort of had the breakthrough. So it really was the outside perspective.
Right. And that is a great lesson for everybody out there, because, Joseph was gracious enough to share his story with us today, but it happens to me because I have coaches as well, and it happens to me. But that outside perspective is huge, because the things, the language we're using and the things we're thinking and things like that, we don't really necessarily a notice when we're doing those things. But when someone else is paying attention and someone else is noticing, it's amazing what happens. So if any of Joseph's story sounds like you, today might be a great day. Today's is a great day, not might be. Today is a great day to reach out and spend a little time talking to a coach. So Joseph, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It's huge, and it is a great example of how in a little bit of time, not very much time, right? Turning around things to have a successful week. And I think the fact that you recognized what was happening, you took action to do something about it, and you reached out for help, those three things were huge. So thank you again for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much for all of the ways that you helped me that we don't even recognize or realize until later down the road. So like Jackie said, if you see yourself in this story, or if you feel ready to take some responsibility and let other people in to sort of see from the sidelines and give you some coaching, reach out to me right now. We will set up a business diagnostic where Jackie can take a deeper dive into your business and start looking at the different opportunities that you might not see. We'd be happy to set that up. It's complimentary. Simply reach out to me via private message or respond to this, and we will get back to you as soon as we possibly can, which will probably be within 30 minutes. So thank you so much, Jackie, for treating me nicely on the hot seat today. And everybody, thank you so much. And we'll be back again next week with Ask an Action Coach. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.